यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्ततितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयेकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये यत्पदाम्भोरुहध्यानविध्वस्ता शेषकल्मषः वस्तुताम् उपयातोऽहं यामुनेयं नमामि तम् नमस्सभायै. We will begin with the fifth chapter today. Hopefully, we will complete it. It's a straightforward chapter. I'm reading the commentary of Ramanuja, the introduction. चतुर्थे अध्याये कर्मयोगस्य ज्ञान आकारतापूर्वक स्वरूप भेदः ज्ञानांशस्य च प्राधान्यम् उक्तम्. In the fourth chapter, the jnana akarata, the form of jnana, in of karma yoga was mentioned, and the different types of karma yoga. Also, the prominence of the aspect of jnana in karma yoga was mentioned by Krishna. Also, in the previous chapters, jnana yoga adhikarinah api karma yogasya antargata atma jnanatvat apramadhatvat sukaratvat nirapekshatvat jyayastvam tritiye eva vuktam. The third chapter itself, the superiority of karma yoga to jnana yoga was explained. Why? Because karma yoga includes jnana. It is error free, so to say. The scope to make errors is less in karma yoga. Easy, sukaratvat and nirapekshatvat. It does not depend on other external factors, let us say, or an exceeding capacity to control the sense organs, etc. Idanim karma yogasya. Now, karma yoga is superior to even those who are eligible to take up jnana yoga. That is the point. Idanim karma yogasya atma prapti sadhanatte jnananishthayah shaigriyat. Shaigriyam means quickness. Idanim, now, karma yogasya atma prapti sadhanatte. Atma prapti is attainment of atma, but attainment means we are never away from ourselves. So attainment here means realization or having a sakshatkara, a direct perception of ourselves. In that, compared to jnana-nishtha, karma yoga helps us to attain the goal easily, quickly. Karma yoga antargata akartritva anusandhana prakaram cha. Now, as long as we keep doing activities, it is very difficult to get away from the thoughts of doership. I am doing, this is my work, this is what I expect. So how to get rid of the kartritva anusandhana? How to give up the notion that I am the doer? So that is being said in this chapter. This chapter begins with the question, Arjuna uvacha sannyasam karmanam Krishna naryogam cha shamsasi yachreya etayo rekam me bruhi sunishchitam. Krishna, you seem to be praising both the renunciation of actions and the performance of actions. So among these two, which is superior? Please let me know. Because both are opposed to each other. When we praise two things, if there is a lot of similarity between the two, then it does not make much of a problem. But both are opposite in nature. One is sannyasam. By sannyasa, what we know, giving up. Sannyasa means giving up. But punar yogam, punaha yogam. Yoga here means karma yoga, performance of action. So you seem to be praising giving up of karma. you also seem to be praising performance of karma. So what do you do now? Which one should I take? That's why Ramanuja said, the Krishna is going to say why Karma Yoga is considered superior. Here in this context, the reason being quickness in attaining the result. I'm trying to share the screen. I don't know if you're able to see, but anyway, I've shared it through WhatsApp, so that should help you. We are on the second page of today's session, page 190. So Ramanuja explains what is sannyasa and what is yoga. Karmanam sannyasam jnana yogam punaha karma yogam cha shamsasi. Sannyasa, the shloka begins with the word sannyasa, but sannyasa of what? So Ramanuja says karmanam sannyasam. Of course, the shloka also says sannyasam karmanam. So to put it in anvaya, karmanam sannyasam. What is that karmanam sannyasam? It is jnana yoga. And then punaha karma yogam cha shamsasi. You are already praising the activity of giving up of karma, but again you are praising the performance of karma. एतदुक्तं भवति द्वितीये अध्याये मुमुक्षोः प्रथमं कर्मयोग एव कार्यः. This needs to be said in the second chapter. For a mumukshu, the first step is to perform karma yoga. Karma yogena mriditantah karana kashayasya jnana yogena atmadarshanam karyam iti pratipadya. So when Krishna began, he said, by performance of karma yoga, the mumukshu should cleanse his antakarana to make it fertile, so that he can take up jnana yoga later, through which he can attain atma sakshatkara. Punaha tritiya chaturtayoho jnana yoga adhikara dasham apannasyapi. But in the third and fourth chapters, even for those who have attained the eligibility to take up jnana yoga, karmanishta eva jayasi. Again, Krishna, he reinstated that, asserted that karmanishta eva jayasi, even for those who have attained the eligibility to perform jnana yoga. सायेव ज्ञाननिष्ठा निरपेक्षा आत्मप्राप्त्येक साधनम इति कर्मनिष्ठां प्रशंससि इति. So this karma yoga does not depend on jnana yoga. The initial teaching is that perform karma yoga, become eligible to do jnana yoga, take up jnana yoga, perform jnana yoga, attain atma sakshatkara, become eligible to take up bhakti yoga, and so on. But in the third and fourth chapter, Krishna clarified that even karma yoga, if you do it in the way I am going to tell you, I am going to teach you, without doing jnana yoga separately, you will be able to reach the result of jnana yoga by doing karma yoga itself, but provided you do it in the way I am going to teach you. That is, include jnana yoga in it, include jnana in it. Tatra, so this is what Arjuna says. So Krishna is saying like this. Tatra etayoho jnana yoga karma yoga yoho. Etayoho means of these two. Between jnana yoga and karma yoga, atma prapti sadhana bhave yad ekam saukaryat shaigriyat cha shreyaha. So in order to attain the atma sakshatkara, which is easier, which is quicker, cha shreyaha shreshtamiti sunishchitam tadme bruhi. So say for sure which one is easier and quicker. Shri Bhagavan uvacha sannyasa karma yogascha nishreyasa karra abubhau tayosta karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. Bhagavan never lets down either of the two. He says both are nishreyasa karau ubhau. Renunciation as well as performance both lead to highest excellence. But if you ask me specifically, I would say karma sannyasat karma yogaha vishishyate. If you compare to karma sannyasa, karma yoga is better. Then Bhagavan explains who is actually a sannyasi. Because for us, sannyasi means in Shastras also, who is a sannyasi? As a vichara in general about how we gain knowledge. Then dandi, dandena sannyasi. Somebody is carrying that the stick of the ascetics. Then we say he is an sannyasi because he's having that danda. Of course, he is shaven his head and he is wearing orange robes, etc. So, who is a sannyasi? So, somebody comes up in this garb, somebody comes up in this attire. Without thinking, we will say he is a sannyasi. But who is a sannyasi? Krishna says, Nyeyasya nitya sannyasi yo nadveshti na kankshati nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukam bandhat pramuchyate. Saha nitya sannyasi iti Nyeyah. He is a nitya sannyasi who yo yaha na dveshti na kankshati, who does not have the pairs of opposites, namely desire and hatred. He would embrace anybody. The sense, he would not show hatred towards anybody. He would be able to accommodate to meet and talk and give upadesha to anybody, to correct anybody and to acknowledge anybody. So Ramanuja says the same thing. Not much to be explained from the perspective of Vishishtadvaita. That's why I'm moving on. Then, why Krishna says Nishreyasa Kara Vubhau in the second shloka? This is the reason. Jnana Yoga Karma Yoga Yoho Atma Prapti Sadhana Bhave Anyonya Nairapeksham Aha. So between Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, the independence of these two are there in order to attain Atma Sakshatkara. One does not depend on the other. Okay. Sankhya Yoga Upratak Bhalaha Pravadanti na Panditaha Ekamapyasita Samyak Ubhayor Vindate Phalam. The terms can be misleading, Sankhya and Yoga here. Sankhya and Yoga do not mean the schools of philosophy, but here Sankhya Yoga means Jnana Yoga. Yoga means Karma Yoga. Balaha Vadanti. Prithak means, oh no, they are separate. There is no relation between Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Both are completely different. This only the Bala means here the Mugdha, the not learned, only they would say. Na Panditaha, but Panditaha, the wise men, the learned men, they will not say, they will never say that Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga are different. Ekamapyasita samyaku ubhayor vindate palam. So even if one is able to stay steadily in one either of them, he can attain the results of by performing both. I mean, even without performing the other one would be able to get the result of the other one also. Here, how they are same? If they are same, why should we then call them as Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga? Cannot call them as Yoga, etc. Then we are going to see that the sameness is because of the ability of both of them, of either of them to give the same result. That is the reason and not anything else. Let us look at Ramanuja's commentary. Jnana Yoga Karma Yoga Phala Bhedat Pratak Bhutov Ye Pravadanti. So what is the reason for some people who have not studied properly to say that Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga are different? Why? Because the results that they give are different. That is their understanding. Who are they? Anishpanna Jnanaha, those who have not attained complete knowledge. Na Panditaha, Nata Kritsnavidaha. Kritsna means entire or whole, WHOLE. Kritsnavidaha are those who know completely. Na Kritsnavidaha means who know incompletely or who do not know completely. Karma yogo jnana yoga meva sadhayati. Jnana yogastu eka atmavalokanam sadhayati iti tayoho phala bhedena pratakvam vadantaha na panditaha ityartaha. So those people out of ignorance, they say, see, Karma Yoga at best will accomplish Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is the only one which will accomplish Atmavalokana or Atma Sakshatkara. So those who think thus wrongly, only they say that Sankhya and Yoga are different. But Ubhayoho Atmavalokana Eka Phalayoho Eka Phalatvena ekamapi asitah tadeva phalam labhate. But the truth is that both are capable of getting us the or making us attain atma sakshatkara. Therefore, if one does either of them properly, of course he gets the result of both of them. That is, he or she for sure will attain atma sakshatkara. Again, this is being explained by Krishna. Yat sankhyaih prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate ekam sankyam cha yogam cha yah pashyati sa pashyati. One who sees like this, he is a person who actually sees, who realizes. What is that? Ekam sankyam cha yogam cha. Sankhya and yoga are one and the same. Why? Yat sankhyahi prapyate. What is being attained? Sthana. Yat sthanam sankhyahi prapyate. That sthana or that goal which is attained by those who follow sankhya, that is jnana yoga, tad yoghairapi gamyate. That is being attained by yogis also. So who see like this, whoever sees like this, he is the person actually sees. That's what Ramanuja Krishna says here. Then he says why then the difference in the teaching, that is because sannyaasastu mahabaho dukkhamaptuma yogatah yogayukto munirbrahma achirenadhigacchati. Sixth verse, sannyasa is difficult to take up without yoga. What is that yoga? Karma yoga. So by practicing karma yoga, we do gain the ability to control our sense organs and mind. If that ability to control is not there, then one cannot take up jnana yoga. Therefore, sannyasastu mahabaho dukkham aptum ayogatah yoga yukto munir brahma nachirenadi gacchati. Whereas one who has gained the ability to control senses and mind, for them they can easily take up jnana yoga. They will adhigacchati means they can attain that jnana yoga. Sorry, brahma nachirena adhigacchati. Here brahma shabda, the sixth verse, brahma shabda means atman. That is the individual atma, not the parabrahman. So one who has gained the mastery of sense organs and mind can take up jnana yoga easily, accomplish and then attain atma sakshatkara. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vichitatma jitendriyah sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. The general tendency is that if you take up karma yoga, we may have to experience or enjoy or experience the results of the karma that we perform. But how can someone who does karma yoga and still be unaffected by the results of the karma? So that's the seventh verse. Yoga yuktah vishuddhatma. Vishuddhatma here means it does not have any attachment towards the actions. Jitendriyah. Vishuddhatma, vijitatma, jitendriyah. Let us go through Ramanuja's commentary. कर्म योग युक्तः तु शास्त्रीये परमपुरुष आराधन रूपे विशुद्धे कर्मणि वर्तमानः. So Vishuddhatma is one. Radhika raised hand. Yeah.
Actually, I'm not clear about the fifth verse.
Fifth verse.
Can you explain that again? It's
Okay. Yat sankhyaih prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate ekam sankyam cha yogam cha yah pashyati sa pashyati. Now here the discussion is to make a comparison between karma yoga and jnana yoga or sankhya and yoga. Because the teaching began like this, a mumukshu should take up only karma yoga. After performing karma yoga, he can take up jnana yoga and so on. So then we get an understanding that karma yoga and jnana yoga are different. But Krishna, in the third and fourth chapter, he said, those who are eligible for Jnana Yoga also should take up only Karma Yoga. Now there comes a confusion. Initially, we thought both are different because those who are new to all these things, he has attained the Mumukshutva recently, he cannot straight away take up Jnana Yoga. Therefore, he has to take up Karma Yoga, cleans the Antakarana, then take up Jnana Yoga like this. Sorry. But Krishna praised Karma Yoga in the third and fourth chapter. He said, though in fact those who are eligible for Jnana Yoga also should take up only Karma Yoga. So now there appears a doubt in the mind. How can both be same? Because Jnana Yogi has to take up Jnana Yoga only. Then Krishna taught, no, you can include Jnana in Karma Yoga and perform. When performed in this way, Karma Yoga will directly bestow Atma Sakshatkara. If Karma Yoga is being done with Jnana included, then there is no need to again take up Jnana Yoga after completing Karma Yoga to get Atma Sakshatkara. So which means that Atma Sakshatkara, which is the end of Jnana Yoga, can be attained by performance of Karma Yoga with Jnana. If we look at this way, then both, they seem to be an alternative. That is either Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga. It is not like Karma Yoga and then Jnana Yoga and then Bhakti Yoga. No. Either Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga itself, then straight away one can go to Bhakti Yoga. Why? Because Yat Sthanam Sankhyahi Prapyate. That the sthana here is the result, one we can say the state. What is the state? Atma Sakshatkara. So the Atma Sakshatkara state, which is attained by Jnana Yogis, which is got through Jnana Yoga, is attained by Karma Yoga also. Yat Sankhyahi Prapyate Sthanam Tat Yogairapi Gamyate. So those who follow Karma Yoga also can attain that state. What is that state? Atma Sakshatkara. Ekam Sankyam cha Yogam cha yaf pashyati sapashyati. Therefore, one who sees that there is no actual difference in the results of Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, he has the correct knowledge about them. Did this help?
Yes, so I was confused when it states that the state which is reached by Sankyans, the same is reached by Yogins. Why would you separate yoga and Sankhya? Because I thought the theoretical yoga is Sankhya and the practical Sankhya is yoga.
Yeah, that's why I said in the fourth verse itself, the term Sankhya and Yoga, we should not take it as the schools of philosophy here. Sankhya does not recognize Ishvara. Sankhya does not recognize Ishvara. Sankhya does not recognize Krishna. So why would Krishna talk about something which does not recognize him? So he is not talking about Sankhya here. They say we don't want Ishvara, Sankhya. So here in the context of Bhagavad Gita, Sankhya and Yoga, they mean Jnana and Karma. Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga.
Okay, so Sankhya is Jnana Yoga here?
Sankhya means Buddhi. We saw in the second chapter. Sankhya means Buddhi. And what is attained through Sankhya, Buddhi, is called as Sankhya, which is Atma Jnana basically. Therefore, in the domain of Bhagavad Gita, Sankhya would refer to Buddhi or Jnana Yoga. Yoga, when simply said Yoga, Yoga would mean Karma Yoga.
Okay. It's clear now. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. We are in the seventh verse now. Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma. What is it? Yoga Yuktaha? Karma Yoga Yuktaha. Shastriye Paramapurusha Aradhana Rupe Vishuddhe Karmani Vartamanaha. So he is performing karma which is pure and ordained by Shastras. Tena Vishuddha Manaha, Vijitatma. By performing that prescribed karma, he is able to win over his mind. Vijitatma. Swabhyaste karmani vyapta manastvena sukhena vijita manaha. So he is able to do karma comfortably by winning over his mind. Tatayeva jitendriyah. Therefore, once he has conquered his mind, he has conquered the indriyas also. Kartuhu atmanah yathatmya anusandhana nishthataya sarva bhutatma bhutatma. Therefore, atmanah yathatmya anusandhana nishthataya. Because of his conquer over mind and senses, of his purity of his mind, antakarana, he is able to constantly think about his atma as separate from prakriti. That's the atmanah yathatmya. Now, sarva bhutatma bhutatma. There is a term, sarva bhutatma bhutatma. What is the sarva bhutatma bhutatma? Ramanuja explains. Sarvesham devadi bhutanam. Sarva means sarvesham, of all. Devadi bhutanam. Here bhuta means being, B-E-I-N-G. Like what? Like Deva, Manushya, Tiryak, etc. etc. Atma bhuta atma yasya asau sarva bhutatma bhutatma. So one who realizes that he is the very same atma which is found in all the beings. So such a person. I repeat, sarva bhutatma bhutatma is one who realizes that he is the very same atma which is found in all the beings also. Why? Because he has found that atma per se is same. Same in the sense is similar, because there is plurality of atma, which is Krishna is going to say, and Ramanuja is going to emphasize upon that. Atma yathatmyam anusandadhanasya ki devadinam swasya cha ekakaraha atma. So atma yathatmyam, only one who has known the true nature of atma, one who is able to constantly contemplate on that, he is going to realize that everybody has the same atma. Devadi bhedanam prakriti parinama vishesha rupataya atma akaratva asambhavat. So the difference, Veda, is due to the sambandha of Prakriti. Each one of us have a different equation with Prakriti. Therefore, because of that, we have got a Sharira. So that Sharira, when we look at each other, with that Sharira, we look different. Male, female, dark, fair, long, tall, short, etc., etc. But in the essence, when the Atma is bereft of the Prakriti, all the Atmas are same. So one who has realized that, one who is able to appreciate that, he is called as Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. Prakriti Viyuktaha Sarvatra Devadi Deheshu Jnanaika Akarataya Samanakaraha. Samana Akaraha means of having a similar nature. When free from Prakriti. Nirdosham hi samam brahma. This we saw, this we are going to see. Anantarameva vakshyate. Nirdosham hi samam brahma. So, only when we look at the Prakriti Sambandha, we are able to see the doshas and therefore differentiate. But when we look at the Atma Akara, no dosha and Samya everywhere. Saha evam bhutaha karma kurvannapi anatmani atmabhimanena na lipyate na sambhadyate. So, as a person, even if he does karma, he is not attracted or he does not feel repelled looking at the Sharira. Why? Because he does not have any abhimana, he does not have any regard for the nature. Ataha achirena atmanam apnoti ityartha. So by having that contemplation constantly, he is able to attain, he is able to perceive his atma very soon. So then,
can you simplify this kurvan api na lipyate?
Okay, kurvan api, kurvan. Anyway, that's the meaning of the 8th and 9th, the next two verses. But anyway, we'll see. Kurvan means Shatra Prataya, doing, even while doing. So such a person who does not have any special like or dislike towards anything else, who is able to appreciate the Atma everywhere, therefore does not have any hatred or liking. If such a person, when he does action, kurvan api, karma kurvan api. See, it is like saying wearing a pure white dress, be dhoti or churidar or whatever, and keeping it clean, pure throughout the day by not doing any work, not wishing to soil our clothes. Why? Because they'll get dirty. So at the end of the day also, when somebody is seen like this, I'm having a pure dress, dhoti or whatever. But what is the use now? You haven't actually done anything. So like when doing karma yoga is doing karma yoga and still having uh, uh, a dress, still wearing the same dress, not mixed with dirt. How in the sense, uh, it could be a very lay example to explain, but what happens is that special consideration or whatever that's lost to the body. So that person with a very even mind does not refrain from doing things or does not overdo anything. So he just keeps on doing what he is supposed to do. Evam bhutah karma kuruvannapi anatmani. Anatmani here is the body. Atmani means in the atma. Anatmani means the sharira. Atma abhimanina lipyate. So he no longer feels attached to the sharira or the dresses or whatever we wear. So by giving up that attachment and keeping on doing things, what happens is that slowly he is not uh, affected by the karma basically. So na sambhadyate atah achirena atmanam apnoti ityartah. See, karma is external, that bhava is internal. From the external we go into the internal. So keep bearing in mind that I'm not the sharira, so I don't see the differences. With this state of mind, slowly what happens is that the buddhi stays in this jnana that I am the Atma, I'm not the Sharira. Everywhere it's only the Atma. I mean, Sharira is there for others also, but we don't look at the Sharira anymore. All are basically Atma, like this. So when constantly this practice is being done along with the karma, he is able to attain Atma Sakshatkara easily. Does it make some sense?
To an extent, yes.
To an extent. Okay, no problem, because the more we contemplate, it will be clear to us. Yataha saukaryat shaigrhyach karma yoga eva shreyan atah tadapekshitam shunu. Why? Because by easiness and also the quickness, karma yoga. Why karma yoga is better? That you listen to me from now. That's what Krishna says. Because the antakarana is very clear for the practitioner. Whatever he does, that does not affect him. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattavit pashyan shranvan spashan jigran ashnan gachan swapan shvasan pralapan visrajan grinhan unmishan nemishan napi indriya anindriyartheshu artanta iti dharayan. 8 and 9. So whatever he does, he is not affected at all. That's the point here. Why? Because it's very difficult to look at an object and still stay away from concluding anything. Whenever we look at an object, we always look at the factors associated with it. So what happens? Our own opinions and everything influences. So we constantly keep making observations and we conclude. But now this yogi, since he has a very Shuddha Atma, he is Jnani also. So whatever he does, nothing really disturbs him. Why? Because indriyartheshu vartante iti dharayan. It's the activities I used to see. It is the activities of the ears to hear. Like this, he is not too much perturbed by what he sees, what he does. Okay. How? The 10th verse, Krishna says, Brahmanya adhaya karmani sangham tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate na sapapena padmapatram iva ambhasa. Brahmani adhaya. Now the term Brahma comes again. Brahmani adhaya karmani. Adhaya karmani means keep all your karma. Like that, it's a very loose meaning. Place everything in Brahman. Sangam tyaktva, don't have any attachment. Yah karoti, so without any attachment, so he's simply keeping all the karma upon Brahman and then you do. If when somebody does like this, he is not attached by the papa out of the karma, like how a lotus leaf is untouched by the water. But here, what does the word Brahma in this verse mean? What does the word Brahman mean? Then Ramanuja explains. Brahma Shabdena Prakritihi Iha Uchyate. Already we saw that it is possible to interpret Brahman as Parabrahman or Prakriti or Jivatma depending on the context. Here, karma is because of Prakriti Sambandha. What Ramanuja tries to say is that he will be, there's one more verse where he clarifies, the Kartrutva, the agency is not natural to us, but it is because of the association with Prakriti. So only because of the Prakriti Sambandha, only because of the Sharira, we all have an agency, we all are actors. If there is no Prakriti Sambandha, then we wouldn't be acting in this way. That's the point here. Assuming just for example, a liberated Atma, even if we were to take up a Sharira, even there is no basis for him to take, but even if he takes up a Sharira, he would not be perturbed at all. Like how in Srimad Bhagavata, when the story begins, like Pravritti Dharma, Nivritti Dharma, Prajapati, there was a creation, but then nobody stayed here. Everybody left their body and went back. Why? Because those Maharishis were born with such a jnana that this Sharira could not influence them at all. Only for Ajnanis, the Sharira Sambandha would be there, which will bother, which will give the agency to act. That's why we keep acting. So here Brahma Shabda, Brahma means Prakritihi Iha Uchyate. Krishna is going to say in the 14th chapter, Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma, Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma. So Yonihi Brahma, Yonihi is Prakriti. Therefore, it is not impossible or it is a possible meaning to associate Brahma Shabda to Prakriti. Itihi Vakshate. Indriyanam Prakriti Parinama Vishesha Rupatvena Indriyakarena Avastitayam Prakrito. So this Prakriti, we should not again think about the universe here. Prakriti means our Sharira. Prakriti Parinama Vishesha Rupatvena Indriya Akarena. Indriyas and everything. Because by saying Prakriti, we should not think about the bigger aspect of Prakriti. Pashyan Shanvan Ityadina Ukta Prakarena Karmani Adhaya Palasangam Tyaktva. Naiva Kinchit Karomi. So whatever actions the body does, the Atma has this consideration that I am not doing all these things. It's a Sharira which does all these things. Iti yaha karmani karoti, one who does the actions. Sa prakriti samsishtataya vartamanaha api prakrityatma abhimana rupena sambandha hetuna papena na lipyate. So even though he is seen to be associated with Prakriti, he actually is not disturbed by the Sambandha. Therefore, the Papa, what is that Papa? To think that I am this body, that's the Papa here. So that sin does not touch him. Padmapatram ivambhasa. Yatha Padmapatram ambhasa samsprashtam api na lipyate. How the lotus leaf is still in water, it is surrounded by water, but yet it is not affected by it, not touched by it. Tathana lipyate ityartha. That's how the yogi would be. He would remain untouched by the actions of the Sharira. Why? Because he will no longer think, I am the Sharira and I am doing all these things. He would think this Sharira is doing all these things. Why? Because of the Vasana, which will come later, a bit later. Kaye namanasa buddhya kevalayirindriya irapi yoginah karma kurvanti sangham tyaktvatma shuddhaye. So why do We may ask, why do still the yogis have to do karma? Atma Shuddhaye, because the journey is not at over, the game is not at over. That purification of the self has to be attained in a complete manner. Therefore, with the body, mind, and intellect, the yogis they do actions, but without attachment. Why? Because Atma Shuddhaye. Hmm? Oh, okay. I have not shared the images of the verses from 12th and so on. Why? Because the teaching is a mere reinforcement. I'm going to read the verses and then quickly say tell the meaning. I will share the single file which has all the shlokas. That would help us to follow up with the shlokas. Today I'm just going to say the number and then read the verse and give a meaning. The 12th verse, page 197. Yuktah karma palam tyakva shantimapnoti naishtikim ayuktah kamakarena alesakto nibadhyate. So the entire argument is now it's revolving around attachment. Yuktaha, ayuktaha. Yuktaha means who is a yogi basically, who gives up everything, all the attachments. He obtains naishtikim shantim, that eternal peace he attains. Ayuktaha, one who is not a real yogi, kamakarena, because of his desire, he gets attached to the results of the actions. Okay, now in the 13, 14, 15, and 16th, until I mean the 13, 14, and 15, Krishna tells Arjuna that how we should do by controlling all the sense organs and the mind, and how you should go about doing the karma, etc. The 14th and 15th, Bhagavan says that the kartrutva or the agency is because of the Sharira Sambandha. In actual, if you look at actually, the Jivatma does not have an agency like what we have now. This is because of the bondage, and therefore we cannot actually do any papa or punya. All that is done because of the Prakriti Sambandha or with the Sharira Sambandha. Let me quickly go back to that again. This Swarupa and Atma, the Swarupa and Prakriti are actually incompatible. It is like oil and water. I repeat, the nature of Atman and the nature of Sharira, they are both incompatible. They cannot come together and stay, but still they are staying together. And that is the mystery. So what is the reason? So the reason we say it's Anadi Karma, Anadi Vasana, etc. But still the mystery remains. How did the first Sambandha happen? Because the Atma is by definition is a pure entity. Atma by definition is a pure entity. So if it were pure, if it were to remain pure, how did it come into contact with Prakriti? Hope you get my question. Because of the contact with Prakriti, the Atma, you can say, has lost its purity to an extent. But the Atma per se is a pure entity. So which came first? Did the Atma became impure first and then got stuck with Prakriti, or it got stuck with Prakriti and then became impure? So this is a $1 million question. So this question is cannot be answered by any school of philosophy. That's why Advaita Siddhanta, Shankaracharya, what they maintain is that everything is like a dream. Actually, there is no connection at all. So it is that their way of handling the issue. So what they say is that the Sambandha is not there, the Ajnana is not there, everything is Mithya. It is a way of reconciliation, but there are challenges in each and every, the way we choose, whatever way we choose, there are challenges to sustain the explanation to each and every detail of the problem. So here in the 14th and 15th verses, Krishna says the same thing. In essence, if you go with the pure nature of Jivatma, it does not have any kartritva at all, as we see the kartritva now in being associated with the Prakriti. So that is not there. Therefore, no punya, no papa. We cannot actually, Atma per se, like how we saw in the second chapter, it cannot kill anybody. In the same way, an Atma, it cannot inflict a papa, or it cannot take away the punya of anybody. That's what Krishna says. Then why all this? Why all this is because ajnanena avritam jnanam. It is all because of the enveloping of the jnana by ajnana. But how and when that enveloping happen, for that we don't have an answer. But Krishna says in the 16th verse, jnanena tu tadajnanam yesham nashitam atmanah. But there are some who are able to destroy the ajnana with jnana. Tesham adityavat jnanam prakashayati tatparam. I forgot to share this particular commentary to this shloka, 16th verse. I'm putting it in WhatsApp now. This is important to go through. Yeah, the 16th verse. Jnanena tu tadajnanam yesham nashitam atmanah tesham adityavat jnanam prakashayati tatparam. Tad ajnanam nashitam. Ajnanam nashitam. By what? Jnanena. Ajnanam nashitam. By what? Jnanena. Yesham atmanah. Interestingly here, Krishna uses plural. There are a couple of things to be told here. Tesham adityavat jnanam prakashayati tatparam. Tesham, yesham, tesham. So first yesham is to whom, to those, for those in whom tat ajnanam jnanena nashitam. This ignorance is destroyed by the knowledge of the self. Atmanah jnanena. Atmanah jnanena ajnanam nashitam. Tesham, for them, adityavat jnanam prakashayati tatparam. After that, their jnana, it shines like the sun, and it is supreme. Okay, let's look at the commentary now. Evam vartamaneshu sarvatmasu. All the cells, the cells, they are deluded by ajnana, because in the previous verse we saw ajnanena avritam jnanam. Until the real jnana dawns on the person, all the atmas are, they are enveloped by ajnana. So evam vartamaneshu sarvatmasu yesham atmanam ukta lakshanena atma yathatmya upadesha janitena atma vishayena aharaha. But for some people, because of the knowledge being imparted about the atma, in whatever way Krishna said, ukta lakshanena atma yathatmya upadesha janitena, because of the upadesha given, aharaha. Aharahar means daily, constantly. Abhyasa adheya atishayena. Abhyasa adheya atishayena niratishaya pavitrena jnanena. Because of the intensity of their practice and because of the exceeding nature of the purity of jnana, तत् अज्ञानवारणं तद् अज्ञान आवरणम् अनादिकाल प्रवृत्त अनंत कर्म संशय रूप अज्ञानं नाशितं. That ajnana, what is the ajnana? It is because of anadikala pravritta ananta karma samshaya rupa ajnanam. Timeless, beginningless form, that ajnana, karma samshaya rupa ajnanam nashitam tesham. Because of their accumulated knowledge, I mean ajnana, whatever is there, that is being destroyed by this, the fresh acquisition of atma yathatma jnana. Tesham tat swabhavikam param jnanam aparimitam asankuchitam adityavat sarvam yathavasitam prakashayati. To them, the real jnana, the swabhava jnana, it is like asankuchita, not being controlled. Like how? Like the rays of the sun, like the effulgence of the sun. Adityavat yathavasitam prakashayati. It shows everything to them. Whatever is there in the universe, it shows everything to them without a tinge of ajnana. Tesham iti vinashta ajnananam bahutva abhidhanat atmaswarupa bahutvam natve baham jatunasam natvam neme naradhipaha iti upakrama avagatam atra spashtataram muktam. Now Ramanuja takes the opportunity to prove that jivatmas are many in number. He is saying that Krishna is not teaching Advaita. Why? Because in Advaita Shastra, only when Ajnana is there, the plurality of Jivatmas are there. As, let us say, each and every Atma realizes its oneness, its non-difference with Brahman, what happens now? On the liberated side, you have only Brahman. Only on the bonded side, you have many Atmas. Correct? What is the realization? I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. Therefore, after getting liberated, after attaining the right jnana, a Jivatma would not think itself to be separate. Now, what is the context here? Here Krishna says, Yesham nashitam atmanaha tesham adityavat jnanam. So Krishna here says, to those who attain that state. So which means he is referring to people who are liberated. While referring to people who are liberated, Krishna says tesham, which means to them. So here Ramanuja says that very clearly. Krishna says that Atma Bahutva Abhidhanat. So therefore we have to accept that the Jivatmas are many in number, even after liberated, even after getting liberated. Advaita also believes in plurality of Atmas as long as there is Ajnana. But once the Jnana is attained, if everybody thinks Aham Brahma and stays alone, then that would not meet the logic. So only thing is it's a Brahman which will stay, because all the Jivatmas are illusory appearances. So there we cannot talk about many Atmas in Advaita Vedanta in the liberated state. But here Krishna puts very clearly, Yesham Tesham, he uses this relative usage. Therefore Ramanuja says, Tesham iti vinashta ajnananam bahutva abhidhanat. So Krishna uses the Bahuvachana here and Atma Swarupa Bahutvam. Therefore there are many Jivatmas, which was the beginning of the teaching also. Natve Vaham Jatunasam Natvam Nepe Naradhipaha. Krishna began like this in the second chapter. You, me, they, like this he used. Therefore Ramanuja says, that is Spashtataram Uktam. Okay. Now people may say, argue that it's because of Upadhi that Bahutva is there. Some limiting factor, something like Maya, etc. Then Ramanuja says, Nacha idam bahutvam upadhikritam vinashta ajnananam upadhi gandha abhavat. No, it is not because of any upadhi, because upadhi was never there. Tesham adityavat jnanamiti vyatideka nirdeshat. And also Krishna very clearly says, Tesham adityavat jnanam. So to each and every one of them, their jnana now shines like the sun's rays, effulgence. ज्ञानस्य स्वरूप अनुबंधित्वम uktam. And also that if you look at the example of sun, the sun and its rays are different. Sun is supposed to be at one place, whereas its radiance that travels. Likewise, the Jivatma has a Swarupa Jnana. Over and above the Swarupa Jnana, he has a Swabhava Jnana, which is called as Dharma Bhuta Jnana. Only that shines now. With that Dharma Bhuta Jnana, the Jivatma is able to see everything around. But now, the Dharma Bhuta Jnana is clouded in bonded state. Ajnanena Avritam. Therefore, not able to see things properly. But once he does yoga, karma yoga, in the way Krishna has advised, then what happens is that he reaches the end state in which that knowledge is no longer clouded, and just like the Aditya, his jnana would go anywhere and show things very clearly to him. That's Swabhava Jnana. So Aditya Drishtantena cha Jnatru Jnanayoho Prabha Prabhavatoho Iva Avasthanam cha Jnatru Jnanayoho. The Jivatma is a Jnatha, is a knower. He possesses Jnana. That Jnana makes him know. Therefore, Jnatru Jnanayoho Prabha Prabhavatoho. Prabha is the radiance. Prabhavati is one who possesses that radiance. Therefore, this difference is there. So Ramanuja here establishes that with these examples, we can understand that Jivatma, besides being a Jnana Swarupa, has Swabhava Jnana also, which is the Dharma Bhuta Jnana. Tatayeva Samsara Dashayam Jnanasya Karmana Sankochaha Moksha Dashayam Vikasaha cha Upapannaha. Only if you take it this way, then will it make sense to think that Jnana becomes contracted in Samsara Dasha and it becomes full, it becomes fully expanded in the liberated state or in the Moksha Dasha. Okay. Now, in the 17, 18, 19, Krishna talks about that Samyata. How one can look at the Samyata in nature and all the beings. Only that Samyata will help a yogi to make progress in this Karma Yoga. And in the 23rd, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and 25th, all these are very straightforward verses. That's why we're not able to, we're not going in detail. In 26, 27, he says how to be free from Kama and Krodha, how to control the mind, etc. And we will go to the 29th verse, which is the last verse in this chapter, so that we're able to complete the 5th chapter today. भोक्तारं यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति. उक्तस्य नित्यनैमित्तिक कर्म इति कर्तव्यताकस्य कर्मयोगस्य योगशिरस्कस्य सुशकताम् आह. The Ramanuja's link to the 29th verse. Karma Yoga has been said now, which includes the performance of Nitya Naimittika Karma. Yoga Shiraskasya Sushakatam. Yoga Shiraska. Here the yoga is the Sakshatkara. So that is the end, that is the climax, culmination of Karma Yoga. So that how one can do easily. How can one take up that Karma Yoga easily? How? By knowing me. By knowing Krishna, he says. Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Sarvabhutanam Suhridam Mam Nyatva Shanti Mrichati. Yajnatapasam Bhoktaram. I am the enjoyer of all the sacrifices done by everybody, and I am the Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. I am the Ishvara, I am the Maheshwara, I am the Loka Maheshwara, I am the Sarvaloka Maheshwara. Suhridam, Suhridam, Priya Suhrit, Bhagavan is a Suhrit for everybody. Suhrit is one who will only think about the wellness of the other person. Like we say in English, friend. A friend is a very common term, but suhrut means one who has a good heart, who will always think about the goodness of the other person. So Bhagavan is a suhrut, priya suhrut. So if you know me, if you keep me in mind while you perform these activities, then very easily you will attain that highest peace. Yajna tapasam bhoktaram sarvaloka mahesharam sarvabhutanam suhridam mam yatva shantim richati. This is Anvaya of this verse. Karma yoga karana eva sukham richati. Karma yoga karane eva sukham richati. Richati means you will attain. Very easily you will be able to do karma yoga and you will be able to attain that lasting peace. A few clarifications Ramanuja gives here. Sarvaloka Maheshwara, because the terms Maheshwara, Ishvara, they denote other devatas also. But here he says Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Sarvesham Lokeshwaranam api Ishwaram. So he says he is the Ishvara of all the Lokeshwaras. Tamishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram, says Shvetashvatara Upanishad. He quotes that Mam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Sarva Suhridam Yatva Madaradhana Rupaha Karma Yoga. So what is Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga is in fact, it is of the form of Aradhana for Bhagavan. Who is Bhagavan? He is Sarva Loka Maheshwara. He is a Sarva Suhrit. So knowing Karma Yoga to be a form of Aradhana for Bhagavan, Sukhena Tatra Pravartate Ityartaha. Therefore, the Jivatma is able to carry out Karma Yoga in a very relaxed manner. Suhridam Aradhanaya Sarve Pravartante, says Ramanuja. It is only to please our best friend. We do all activities, right? Friend could be a relative also here. Whoever we love most. So the entire life we spend to please them, to keep them always pleased. So if you realize that Bhagavan is the real Sukrita for us, then the Karma Yoga can be done easily as a kind of Aradhana for Bhagavan. That's how the fifth chapter ends. So what was begun is ended now. That Karma Yoga is superior to Jnana Yoga because of the easiness and the quickness in attaining the result. So that's what Krishna said. And we will just read the introduction to the 6th chapter and then stop here. Shashtodhyayaha. उक्तः कर्मयोगः सपरिकरः इदानीं ज्ञानकर्म योग साध्य आत्मावलोकन रूप योगाभ्यास विधिः उच्यते. Yogaabhyasa vidihi uchyate. Vidihi means a procedure here. How to do the yogaabhyasa, that's going to be discussed in the 6th chapter. Why is it that being discussed? It is because jnana karma yoga sadhya atmavalokana rupa yogaabhyasa. So atmavalokana rupa, that is a form of contemplation or the perception of the atma, which is the end of both jnana yoga and karma yoga. So that is going to be discussed in the 6th chapter. Tatra karma yogasya nirapeksha yoga sadhanatvam dhadayitum jnanakarah karma yogaha yoga shiraskaha anudyate. So here karma yoga can directly lead to atma sakshatkara. That will be reinforced once again. For that, the jnanakara of karma yoga is going to be it's going to be told by Krishna again. So that is the introduction of Ramanuja. I'll just read the first shloka and stop. Shri Bhagavanuvacha anashritah karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sasanyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na cha akriyaha. So dhanyavadaha. Any questions in today's session you can ask me now. From the next session we will go to the 6th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita.
Mama, can you explain the meaning of the 11th verse again? I didn't get it the first time.
11th verse. What is 11th verse? Kayena manasa buddhya. Is that one?
Yes.
Kayena manasa buddhya ke balairindriya irapi yoginah karma kurbanti sangam tyakvatma shuddhaye आत्मशुद्धये योगिनः sangam tyaktva karma kuruvanti. That's the operative part. The yogis, they do perform karma without attachment for attaining the purity of atma, of the self. But how do they do? Kayena, with the body, with the mind, with the intellect, with the sense organs also. So by acting up with these instruments, the body, mind, the senses and buddhi, intellect, still without any attachment, they are detached. The yogis, without attachment with these instruments, they keep performing actions for what? For the purification of the self, to destroy all the vasanas that reside in the mind complex. So they want to destroy all the vasanas so as to become pure. Is that your doubt or?
Oh, okay, Mama.
Yeah. Okay. Recording in progress. Yes. Stop the recording.
Usually you stop, so that's why.